The name Terence Crawford has featured prominently in boxing discussions in recent days among boxing fans and pundits, and not all due to promotion of his upcoming bout. Much of it is the hypothetical matchup with rising star and Philly native Jaron Ennis. Many have likened the pair and drawn similarities in style and ability. Then there's the lingering hope of a Canelo Alvatrez fight, a fight that Canelo has continuously poured water on, but a fight that might happen if Turki Al-Sheikh can work his magic. Moreover, the flickering embers of a Spence rematch refuse to peter out despite the one-sided affair in their first encounter. The chances of this happening again and demand for the rematch by those who observed the initial beatdown of Spence at the hands of Crawford remains low. This is all good and well, but before any of that, Crawford must contend with one of the biggest punchers at Super Welterweight, WBA 154-pound champ Israil Madrimov. The vacant WBO Super Welterweight interim title is also on the line. The main event, along with a stacked card, goes down this coming August 3rd at the BMO Stadium, Los Angeles, USA. Let's check it out!
Go check it out! Go check it out.
Terence Bud Crawford sits in many people's top 3 pound-for-pound list, and many even have him as number 1. The Nebraska native and 3-division champion, 2-division undisputed, will be vying for a 4th division title when he takes on Madrimov. But going into the match, some questions have to be answered. Naoya Inoue started out as a light flyweight and moved all the way up the divisions to super bantamweight, where some will argue chinks in the Japanese fighter's armor are starting to show. Canelo Alvatrez started out at super lightweight and climbed all the way up as high as light heavyweight, where he had mixed success. He stopped a past his prime Sergey Kovalev, a Kovalev whom was never the same after his fights with Andre Ward. Against Dmitry Bivol, Canelo discovered that he couldn't make a dent in him. And David Benavidez was always the biggest guy in the ring at super middleweight. That changed when he stepped in the ring as a light heavyweight against the career 175-pounder Alexander Gvozdyk. Benavidez was the clear winner in their bout, but it never really looked like he was going to stop Gvozdyk. And after the fight, Benavidez started talking about returning to super middleweight to continue his Canelo Alvatrez chase. It has been made official recently, however, that he will remain at 175. The point is, the higher up you go in weight divisions, the fighters get bigger, typically hit harder, and they also are used to absorbing punishment from bigger opponents. Then there's the question of activity and obviously age. Crawford's last fight was a year ago. Not much activity since, but Crawford's saving grace is that in between fights he looks after himself. He also didn't receive any damage in his last bout against Spence Jr., so no serious and lingering medical concerns that we know about. Now, age is a funny one. In the heavyweight division, age is not always a critical factor. George Foreman famously became champion again at the ripe old age of 45. He even went on to defend one of those titles along with some minor belts. But it is a different story in the lighter divisions where dynamic movement plays a more important factor. Crawford is great at conserving energy, but he also relies on footwork, positioning and getting into position, reflexes, accuracy, timing and speed. He didn't look like he lost a step against Spence, but at 36 there's always a chance that he might feel his age on the night. A concerning discussion has surfaced and has been doing the rounds among some boxing fans and unofficial commentators for a little while now, and that is that Israil Madrimov is some kind of pushover opponent for Terence Crawford. I've even heard the expression cherry pick bandied about here and there. It is true that in terms of experience in the pros, Madrimov has just the 11 bouts to his name, all wins bar one, a technical draw against Michel Soro in their 2022 rematch, after Madrimov had already claimed victory in their first bout. The second was stopped due to a cut over Soros's eye and ruled a technical draw. Despite the short pro career, and take what I say next with a grain of salt because the argument I'm about to make can be used encouragingly or disparagingly, depending on the fighter you're talking about, but Madrimov does have an extensive amateur career, well over 300 bouts, albeit at the local and continental level. Even so, it was said about him even then that he's always had a style suited to the professional ranks, and since turning pro in 2018, he has shown as much. This can't be said for all amateurs that turn pro. Josh Kelly, someone that comes to mind, is someone who in the amateurs was at or around the same level as Madrimov, but his pro career hasn't quite reflected his amateur career, and he's still chasing an elusive fully fledged title. In other words, turning from Ami to pro doesn't always translate well. Madrimov captured the WBA's black and gold belt early this year against Dagestani Magomed Kurbanov in decisive fashion, stopping him in the fifth. His first title defense is a doozy, and he's taking on easily his best opponent to date, someone he's actually admired and been a fan of for many years. Madrimov will have size on his side, and although he's not the taller fighter, to me Crawford looks taller despite what the stats say. Nor is Madrimov the longer fighter in terms of reach, he is the more solid and naturally bigger of the two, although Crawford has filled out and become thicker with muscles as the years have gone by. Madrimov is a busy fighter with a high output of punches. He consistently shifts laterally and finds angles against opponents by shifting around and almost behind them to change up his angle of attack or to move away from counter shots. He's a switch hitter with great footwork, just like Crawford. Madrimov also feints a lot and uses rhythm change-ups to try and disrupt his opponent's anticipation and timing. If I'm wrong, then I'll take another look in the mirror to check and make sure I'm not literally turning into David Haye, whose record of predicting winners in boxing matchups is famously woeful. But timing, to expand on a previous point, I think will play a crucial part in this. And I think this will be one of Crawford's best tools against Madrimov on the night. Madrimov can be tricky and evasive, but he also makes mistakes. Standing stationary when under attack or telegraphing and leaning in too far when feinting movement. If Crawford can, and I'm sure he will, read this movement and time Madrimov, punish him for his mistakes, then Crawford should get the win. I mentioned Madrimov's size earlier, but remember, Crawford is strong and has always been a hard hitter. I think that will carry as he continues moving up in weight. Using that stinging power, I think Crawford breaks Madrimov down and stops him late. Let me know in the comments below who you think wins and how. Thank you for watching Pound for Pound TV. Please remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell for future updates. See you in the next one. Check out our Patreon page to become a Patreon family member where you'll receive some cool perks. If you're looking for some new threads, we've got t-shirts, hoodies, and much, much more. So head on over to our Michael Akobi Pound for Pound TV stores. They can be found on Redbubble and Spreadshop. Join me on my travels and head on over to my other YouTube channel titled Barefoot and Free. There you can follow me as I traverse the many parts of our planet and occasionally get into a spot of bother. Nonetheless, it's always fun and entertaining. If you're struggling with some of life's obstacles and challenges, my book How to Get Out of Life Traps might just be the answer that you're looking for to help guide you through the difficult times. It's helped many get past some of their darkest moments, and it might do the same to you. You can purchase it on Amazon, where you can also find a wide range of my other works. Those works include screenplay to book adaptations, a fairly unique concept, with genres covering comedy, heist and revenge, drama, supernatural and crime, if that's more your cup of tea. You can find them by following the link provided.